Eagle 95.1 WUPN Paradise, Sault Ste. Marie.
It's time for The Game. Eagle 95.1 proudly brings you The Game, the Twin Sault's only regional and national sports show. For the next hour, we'll get an in-depth look at sports in the Eastern Upper Peninsula and Algoma region and hear from coaches and players involved in The Game. Now, let's join Scott Nason at the Wicked Sister on Ashman Street in downtown Sault Ste. Marie, Michigan for tonight's broadcast of The Game on Eagle 95.1.
Time to play the game. Time to play the game!
Glorious! No, I won't give in till I'm victorious. And I will defend, Glorious! No, I won't give in till I'm victorious. And I will defend, and I'll do what I must. No, I won't give in, oh so glorious. Until the end,
Greetings and salutations, and welcome to The Game on this first Monday night of August 6th, 2018. My name is Scott Nason, broadcasting from the Wicked Sister on Ashman Street on a little bit of a dreary, rainy Monday, but it's never dreary and rainy or just dreary, because I don't think it could rain in here because we have a roof. It's never dreary in the Wicked Sister. As always, lots going on. Come on down and join us for the live broadcast. We broadcast on Monday nights, 6 to 8 o'clock, online at thegamesportshow.com, thegamesportshow.podbean.com, or on YouTube, just look up the Scott Nason channel. We'll be back on Eagle 95.1 WUPN coming up after Labor Day every Monday night as we give you local, regional, and national sports that you can't get enough of. And we'll be joined later on by a couple guests from the Soo Eagles, as the Eagles had their main tryout camp this weekend at the Big Bear Arena. We're also scheduled to be joined by Dave McCaig, host of the Game Sports Show from Soo, Ontario, Butch Davis from the Telegram News and Butch on Sports, and sports enthusiast and all-around good guy, E.J. Russell. Come on down and join us at the Wicked Sister, as I mentioned. Always lots going on, including Friday, a big night. This is one of the biggest nights of the year for the Wicked Sisters. They will be having a tap takeover by UP favorite Ordock out of Marquette, Michigan. They'll be taking over the taps here at the Wicked Sister on Friday starting at 11 a.m. And I have a list of the beverages that will be provided here at the Wicked Sister. Lots of good ones. We'll mention a couple now. We'll sprinkle them throughout the rest of the show. How about Dreamweaver, a light-bodied Belgian amber, and Fresh Coast, an Belgian IPA. So come on down to the Wicked Sister on Friday for their tap takeover. Well, some things going on in the world of local sports, but lots will be going on because today is the first official day of practices for the high school sports season, which we'll get to here coming up in a few minutes. We have a couple items from the Lake Superior State University Athletic Department as they had their volleyball preseason poll. I should say the GLIAC had their volleyball preseason coaches poll, and the Lakers once again coming in last place in the preseason poll in the North Division. Ferris State was tabbed the top team in the North, followed by Michigan Tech and Northern. In the South Division, Northwood and Saginaw Valley were tied for fourth in the North Division. Atop the South Division was Wayne State, followed by Grand Valley, Ashland, Davenport, Wisconsin Parkside, and Purdue Northwest. LSSU begins its second season under head coach Dave Schmidlin, who finished last year with a 3-22 record overall, 1-15 in the GLIAC. The Lakers will kick off their volleyball season on August 24th and 25th when they take on non-conference Upper Iowa, Rollins, Mercyhurst, and Clarion at the Ferris State Invitational. The Lakers are set to open up their home GLIAC slate and have their home opener on September 7th against Northern Michigan University inside the Bud Cooper Gymnasium. And this news just out earlier today, the Laker Athletic Department once again locking up some coaches for the near future. Lake Superior State University announced today 2 long-term coaching commitments for both its track and cross-country programs, with the signing of head coach Rob Gallagher to a multi-year contract extension, as well as the hiring of Danielle Filipek as assistant coach as part of the NCAA Division II Coaching Enhancement Grant, which was awarded to LSSU earlier this spring. Gallagher will begin his second season at the helm of Laker track and cross-country programs after being hired on an interim basis last August. We had him on as a guest, I should say, here at the Wicked Sister. I believe in May, it might have been early June as well. Gallagher, a Lake State alum, was member of the Laker men's track and field team from 2011 to 2015 and served as team captain for his 2015 season. Philip Keck, joins the LSSU coaching staff after spending the last season as the women's head cross-country coach at Cleary University. Prior to her stint there, Philip served as a volunteer assistant cross-country coach at Lansing Community College. The 2018 cross-country schedule will kick off on Saturday, September 8th, as the Lakers travel to Kenosha, Wisconsin to take part in the Wisconsin Parkside Invitation. And we do have one other Laker athletic note. We're going to save it for the very end of the show, as we have some breaking news that hasn't officially been released, but I have an inside tip on a recent hire. As a matter of fact, a hire that they had today. Looking at the Soo Eagles, as I mentioned, we'll be having guests. Either Coach Doug Laprade or General Manager Bruno Bragagnolo will be joining us in our next segment. Fresh off the Eagles' main tryout camp, which was this past Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the Big Bear Arena, as 58 players attended the camp, as well as 6 from last season. And we did get a list of some of the players that will be invited to the opening camp roster or the preseason roster, and they have some returners as well, but we'll save that when we talk to either Coach Laprade or General Manager Bruno Bragagnolo. The Soo Eagles will open up their 2018-2019 season, the regular season that is, on Friday, September 7th, as they will take on the Sioux Thunderbirds at the John Rhodes Arena. The Sioux SaberCats in Sioux, Ontario dropped a 33-8 road decision to the Waterloo Predators in the OFC West Division Final at Warriors Field in Waterloo, bringing an end to the SaberCats season. The Predators advance the OFC Championship game next weekend in Brantford, where they will face the Oshawa Hawkeyes. The Oshawa Hawkeyes won the East Division Final by a 13-2 margin over the Scarborough Thunder. And the Sioux SaberCats junior varsity team, well, their season ended as well last night as they lost to the Chatham Cougars by a score of 48-1, as they had a very good season which saw them with a 7-1 record. As I mentioned, it is opening day for high school football, high school cross country, high school volleyball, and boys soccer, as the 2018-2019 season is officially underway. And what I wanted to do tonight is look at a couple of the rule changes as far as some of the fall sports. First of all, volleyball. Pretty much the most discussed change will concern the MHSAA tournament classification in volleyball. For the first time, volleyball teams are classified in 4 equal divisions instead of the traditional Class A, B, C, and D. That class will no longer be used to organize the postseason for any sport, which includes girls and boys basketball in the winter. So there will be no more Class A, Class B, Class C champion. It's going to be Division I, Division II, Division III, and Division IV. You see that in hockey as they have 3 divisions. Sioux High plays in Division III. You also see that in baseball as they have 4 divisions. Newberry plays in Division III. And most of the Class D schools play in Division IV. Sioux High plays in Division II in baseball. So they're going to make that more uniform. And in football, you have 8 classes as well. I shouldn't say classes, but divisions, 1 through 8. And so and 8-person football as well. So that a big change. As far as the football, there are a couple rule changes I wanted to mention. In an effort to improve football pace of play, by reducing re-kicks after a free or scrimmage kick, generally kickoffs or punts, an option has been added this season allowing the receiving team to accept a penalty and tack on the awarded yardage to the spot where the kick or punt return ended. This option incentivizes the receiving team to forego a re-kick and joins 3 other options after a penalty on the kicking team. The receiving team also may continue to accept a penalty from the previous spot and have the kicking team re-kick. And on kickoffs that travel out of bounds, the receiving team may continue to accept the ball and begin possession 25 yards from where the kickoff occurred, or decline the penalty and begin possession where the kick flew out of bounds. This is more an idea to just kind of eliminate some unnecessary kicks. In addition, for football, players who fail to properly wear required equipment or are missing required equipment during a down shall be replaced for one down, rather than incur a yardage penalty. Previously, a penalty was assessed for delay of game in this scenario. If a player's proper or legal equipment has become improperly worn through use and prompt repair is possible and does not cause a delay in game, that repair may be made without the player being replaced for the next down. So let's look at some of the schedules here for local high school football teams, the ones that we cover, including the Brimley Bays. Eagle 95.1 WUPN will once again be your home for the Brimley Bays this upcoming season, and the season will kick off for Brimley at home on August 24th. Well, they will take on Kearney Nadu. Now remember, for the 8-player football, it's an all-UP conference this year as the Bridge Alliance Conference kicked out all the UP teams, and no reason, or I should say a good reason they did, is because the UP teams kicked the crap out of the Lower Peninsula teams, so the league decided, well, you know what, the heck with you guys. I like this. I like this new league. You're playing UP teams. Granted, the travel can be a little challenging, but I think this will be a good for both the Bridge Alliance Conference, who will now have a little more competitive football divisions, and for the UP teams, who will definitely have more competitive football divisions. So the Brimley Bays will start their season at home August 24th, taking on Kearney Nadu. They'll be on the road on August 31st at Rudyard. September 7th on the road in Stevenson. September 15th, a Saturday afternoon game at Superior Central. September 22nd, back at home hosting Ontonagon. That one also a Saturday afternoon game. September 28th, away against Cedarville. Home against Engadine on October 5th. At Pickford on October 12th. And at Rapid River on October 19th. And we will have each and every game right here on Eagle 95.1. Rudyard's football season begins on August 23rd at North Dickinson. They'll host Brimley, as I mentioned earlier, on August 31st. Be at Powers North Central, a Saturday afternoon game, September 8th. Home to Engadine, September 14th. At Pickford, that one always a big game between those two schools on the gridiron. On September 21st, they'll host Rapid River, September 28th. Away at Kearney Nadu, another Saturday afternoon game on October 6th. Home against Cedarville, October 12th. And home against Superior Central on October 19th. Pickford, who made it all the way to the Final Four last season, they will be at Mesick in their opening game on August 24th. They'll host Engadine, that one on August 30th. Both those schools had very successful seasons last year. Pickford knocking out Engadine in the playoffs. They'll be at Crystal Falls Forest Park September 7th. Home against Rapid River September 14th. Home against Rudyard September 21st. Home against Stevenson September 28th. And then they'll end the season with 3 road games at Superior Central October 5th, at Brimley October 12th, and a big one at Cedarville October 19th. Speaking of Cedarville, they'll start their season at home against Stevenson on August 24th. They'll also be at home on August 31st against Superior Central. Away at Ashley, way downstate for that one on September 7th. They'll be home at North Dickinson September 14th. They'll be home to Brimley September 28th. They'll also have a game at home, I forgot to mention, against Engadine on September 21st. They'll be home to Rapid River on October 5th. Away at Rudyard October 12th, and home to Pickford on October 19th. Soo High Blue Devil football will probably have a coach coming in here in the next few weeks, as they will not be taking part in the Great North Conference anymore. They're an independent, and the schedule much easier than last season. They'll start the season on the road against Sheboygan August 24th. Their home opener will be against Alpena on August 31st. They'll be at Marquette September 7th, at Lincoln Alcona September 14th, at Ogama Heights September 21st. Then they'll end the season with 3 straight home games. Home against Gladstone September 28th, home against Indian River Inland Lakes on October 12th, and home against Gaylord on October 19th. Engadine, they have one of the strangest schedules that I've seen, as far as away and home games, and I have the first 7 games for Engadine all on the road. I don't know if they have a problem with their field or they're doing something. We'll try to investigate that, but they start off with 7 straight road games. So if they don't have any field issues, shame on whoever set up that schedule. No offense to the athletic director in Engadine, who does a great job, but boy, that schedule just a head-scratcher there. They'll be at Powers North Central on August 23rd, at Pickford August 30th, at North Dickinson September 7th, at Rudyard September 14th. What a tough 4 games to start the schedule. They'll be at tough 5 games. They're at Cedarville on September 21st, at Superior Central, that one a Saturday afternoon game, September 29th, at Brimley in the Weather Bowl, October 5th, and then they'll have their home opener the second to last week before the season ends, as they will host Rapid River October 12th and Crystal Falls October 19th. And a couple other 11-player football teams scheduled. The St. Ignace Saints, always strong in high school football. They'll start the season on the road at Gladstone August 24th. They'll be at Newberry August 31st. At Charlevoix, September 7th, and their home opener will be on September 14th against Johannesburg-Lewiston. They'll also be at home September 21st against Harbor Springs. At East Jordan on September 28th. Home against Indian River Inland Lakes October 5th. Home against Rogers City October 12th. And home against Gaylord St. Mary's October 19th. And finally, of the EUP teams, the Newberry Indians in 11-player football in the Northern Michigan Legacy Division, I believe, the Northern Michigan Football Conference Legacy Division. They'll be at Frankfort to start their season August 24th. Home to St. Ignace on August 31st. Home against Harbor Springs on September 7th. At Gaylord St. Mary, September 14th. At Boyne City, September 21st. Home against Indian River Inland Lakes, September 28th. Home against Johannesburg-Lewiston, October 12th. And at East Jordan on October 19th. And the high school volleyball seasons will begin. The earliest match that I have is August 18th, as the Brimley Bays volleyball team will be at the Munising tourney. And I believe that the Sioux High Blue Devils will also be hosting usually they host a invitational tournament there. So, hey, it is time for high school football, volleyball, cross-country, boys soccer, and more. And junior hockey is going to be ramping up. We're going to get a little more into the local sports because it's a little bit of a slow time as far as sports. Football hasn't started. Baseball's kind of, not locally, but with the Tigers and all. So we're excited here on the game as we will bring you the most up-to-date information, interview coaches, players, and have a lot of great sports content throughout this fall. Don't forget that Dave McCaig hosts his own shows, and I use that plural. The Game Sports Show from Sioux, Ontario, now in 3 locations, including the newest one, Northern Brewery in Sioux, Ontario. They're brand new sponsor to the Game Sports Show. They just had their first show there yesterday afternoon, which you can find on the GameSportsShow.podbean.com. He also has shows at Sports Center Bar and Grill in Sioux, Ontario, and Silver Creek Golf Club. So you can find all those shows on the GameSportsShow.com or the GameSportsShow.podbean.com. We're going to take our first break here on the game. When we come back, we're going to talk Soo Eagles hockey. Yes, it's the first weekend in August. We're already seeing and starting to shape this upcoming season, the roster, potential players. We're going to talk to either their head coach, Doug Laprade, or general manager, Bruno Bragagnolo, or who knows, maybe both. That's coming up next on the game here on Eagle 95.1.
Get Wicked Catering from the crew at the Wicked Sister.
We like to think of ourselves as foodies. While our favorite foods are paired with a beer tasting at the Wicked Sister, you can now have the same creative menu for your next catered business luncheon, family get-together, wedding, or holiday party. Our white truffle risotto appeals to your gluten-free and vegetarian guests. Add sautéed shrimp or freshly grilled chicken for a pop of protein. Or let us build you a custom menu to suit your needs. From plated events of 15 to buffets for 200, the Wicked Sister will cater your event with tapas, snacks, cravables, or a full sit-down dinner.
The Wicked Sister, where you'll be treated like family, whether you like it or not.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank an additional sponsor and additional home to the Game Sports Show, Sports Center Bar and Grill. Sports Center Bar and Grill, located on 624 Wellington Street West, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Sports Center rated top sports bar for the second year in a row. At Sports Center, enjoy their famous 75-cent wing night along with delicious Molson products on tap, along with a great atmosphere and other great food options available as well. Sports Center Bar and Grill, the Sioux's best sports bar.
Welcome back to the game on Eagle 95.1 and online on thegamesportshow.com, thegamesportshow.podbean.com, or if you like YouTube, just look up the Scott Nason channel. Scott Nason back at the Wicked Sister on Ashman Street on this Monday night. Coming up in our next segment, we'll talk to Butch Davis from the Telegram News and Butch on Sports, who will get us up to date on what's going on in the Metro Detroit sports scene. We're at the Wicked Sister on this Monday night, and coming up on Friday, they're having another tap takeover, this one by Ordock out of Marquette, Michigan, as they will take over all 8 taps at the Wicked Sister starting at 11 a.m. They'll have a representative on hand around 5 to talk more about beer, beverages, and their brewery. And a couple of the ones that will be on tap include Loose Juicy, which is a hazy Northeast-style IPA, and Bramble on a Rose, raspberries and rose-hipped golden strong. We're joined right now in studio, or I should say at the Wicked Sister, by General Manager of the Soo Eagles, Bruno Bragagnolo, as the Eagles fresh off their camp from this weekend. And so the 2018-2019 season underway. Bruno, thanks as always for joining us here at the Wicked Sister.
Well, thanks for having me, Scott.
Bruno, we always like talking hockey any time of the year, even if it's early August, but you just got done this past Friday, Saturday, and Sunday with your main camp at the Big Bear Arena. By my count, I think you had 58 players that were participating. Before we kind of look at some of the individuals and just players that will be continuing with the Soo Eagles, your overall view on this weekend's camp.
No, me and the coaching staff were really, we were happy with what was there, and we see a lot of potential on the ice, and I think we may have a good combination of returners and some rookies. So we'll see what happens. Time will tell.
One of the things I wanted to mention, Bruno, before we get into this upcoming season is you had a lot of players that advanced from last season, so a lot of players that potentially could have come back this season will not be playing, but you look at some of the players and some of the places they went to. I want to mention the players that are going college hockey, Division III, Jake Palmario, Concordia University, Thomas Dyball, Concordia University, Owen Kipke, Trine University, Will Casey, Gianni Vitale, Trine University, Austin Rowe, Sioux College. North American Hockey League, you have Hayden Clark and Kellen Tharaldson, both at Odessa. Kobe Keller will be playing at Maryland, Carter McPhail at Johnstown, Christian Barterson at New Jersey, Nick Teckel at Springfield, and Bobby Price in Shreveport. That's a lot of players advancing, Bruno. It's something I know you and your coaching staff are very proud of.
Yeah, I mean, that's been our goal since day one that we came here is, we like to win. Well, every coach, every organization does, but if we could advance players to a next level, I get as much satisfaction out of that, to be honest with you.
So we're also joined by head coach Doug Laprade. Coach, thanks for coming in here on this first August Monday night.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate you having us.
Well, Doug, I mentioned to Bruno this weekend's camp. We're going to get to some of the particulars coming up, but overall, your first camp as Soo Eagles coach, what were your thoughts on this weekend?
You know what? I was pleasantly surprised, especially for Sunday on our All-Star game. The camp itself is long for those boys. I mean, there's lots of hockey, right? So it's hard to if you're a player to continue that intensity and that thing for you have 3 long games until Sunday. I thought it started out a little rough, and then it kind of got okay, and then it got a little rough again.
Sure.
But Sunday was impressive. I thought Sunday was really good. It was fast. The intensity was good. Bruno and I talked a lot about a lot of kids, and quite honestly, we could have picked 5, 6, 7 more kids that could have played for us, maybe more. So, when you have that kind of depth in your camp, you got to be happy about that.
And Bruno, looking at some of the players returning from last season, by my count, 6. As you have Brendan Blair, George Orfanos, Matt Capiciolto, along with Mikey Butcher, Kyle Quinn, Alex Schwab. I think I got them all there. These key guys coming back to the Eagles. Nice to have these guys returning.
No, absolutely. And there's there's another boy we're waiting on, Banzer. Remember Banzer?
CJ Banzer, yeah.
Yeah, he's deciding right now he has a chance, a possible school opportunity to go play. So he's contemplating what he's going to do, and we'll find out shortly on him. But no, it's good to have, it's good to have 6 veterans back right now, and hopefully they, lead the way this year for us.
Doug, as a brand new coach, somebody that wasn't there last year, you come into training camp, and what are some of the things that you're looking for? Obviously, you're looking for good goaltenders, you're looking for defensemen that can stop players, you're looking for scorers, but what are some of the specific things as far as things you look for in a camp like that from a player?
Well, I think at the end of the day, you're looking for good players, right? I mean, that's the bottom line. Sure. But when you look at a player, everybody has a different way of looking at what they like. I might like certain things. Bruno might like certain things. Alex might like other things. The first thing I want to see is if they can skate. They got to skate. And if they can't skate, what are the intangibles? Second thing are the intangibles. If they're big, do they hit? Or do they have good hands? Are they, a playmaker? Lots of really good hockey players weren't wonderful skaters, but they could make plays and that other kids can't make. So there are a lot of things like that when you go into a camp and you look through and you see who you have. At the end of the day, what we do, or at least what I do, is you watch all the games, you make comments, you write down comments, good or bad, and then when you get together with the staff, you look through it and you go, okay, well, I saw this, but Bruno may have saw that. So, sure. So what we did is we sat down and and quite honestly, we didn't talk a whole lot during the whole camp, but we both pretty much had the same players, in the right spot. So it all circles up, comes around and cream rises to the top, so to speak. So.
And you mentioned Alex Rook, the new assistant coach this year. Bruno getting Alex, who's been around the Eagles before, who was assistant coach in the past. Good find for the Eagles, in my opinion.
No, excellent. I mean, I don't think we have. I think our staff is the best in the whole league. And then I couldn't be happier. 2 guys that I got 100% confidence in, and I know they'll do a great job, and I know the kids will really relate well to them. Like Doug said, this weekend was a good weekend. It was kind of like America's Got Talent. They audition for you, and then we have the judges' cuts at the end, and that's how it works.
So who's the Simon Cowell of the group then? Who's the tough one?
That's Bruno. Yeah,
I'm not sure about that.
Looking at some of the other players, Coach Laprade here that will be coming on this year's team. Early on this summer, you signed 3 Sioux Ontario players: Rafe Praisner, Owen Shire, and one other whose name escapes me here, but Caleb Wood from Sioux Ontario. Guys that are familiar with this area. They played hockey in Sioux Ontario. How are those guys progressing?
Those guys were very impressive.
I agree.
They were very the 3 of the best kids in camp. Unfortunately, Caleb got hurt kind of quickly, but what I did see of them, I liked. And Owen and Raf are good players. I mean, I was very, very pleasantly surprised with them. They've got some grit. They both skate really well. They all 3 of them are good players. Good. They see the ice. Those are 3 big players that are going to have, they're going to have an impact on our team. And for us to get them, rather than them, staying in Ontario, not necessarily Sioux Ontario, sure, but just Ontario.
Right.
That's a big thing for our program.
Bruno Bragagnolo and Doug Laprade joining us on the game, talking Soo Eagles hockey. Bruno, I saved the goaltending questions, of course, for you, as a couple of goaltenders coming out of camp, Joe Benedetto and Caleb Sauer, both invited on. Just give us a snapshot on them and how they played this weekend.
They were both pretty They were probably two of the most consistent goaltenders. There was another Canadian boy who we really liked a lot, but right now we're kind of tied with the import rules.
Sure.
But those two boys, they're great kids. They're really good athletes. They're dedicated, really serious. And they were pretty consistent throughout the whole weekend. So we're going to, with Scott, with goaltending, you never know until you start playing real games. And last year, McPhail came in as a number 2, and he was like the best goalie in the league. So you never know what's going to happen. I'm hoping that they do well, and I have confidence in them. And I'm, coming out of camp, I don't have any problem with either one of them right now.
Doug, from now until when you guys hit the ice, what are some of the things that you and Bruno do between now and then? Are you still looking? I think you're always looking for other players and other camps going on. Just walk us through between now and when you guys come back, reassemble, and hit the ice.
Well, both of us will be still bird dogging guys, right? Like we have a team. We committed to the team. We're going to start the season with our team, but it's junior hockey. It's not it's not high school anymore. It's not midget anymore. Right. It's you got to perform. You got to play, and that's the age old thing with hockey or in any sport. When Bruno played, anytime, you have to play. So you make a team. You have to play good. You have to keep out of trouble, stay out of trouble. You have to keep in shape. If you don't, and you can't make a play or you can't do it, then things happen. Philosophically, my wish is to start the year with the team and end the year with the same team.
Right.
But that's probably not a realistic thing. But that's my goal. So. Both of us have a lot of contacts in other junior leagues and other, both countries, and we've already been in contact with them, and they'll inevitably be more players available if we need them.
Bruno, your regular season starts on September 7th at the Sioux Thunderbirds. 5 games on the road before you start the regular season at home on September 21st. When do you guys next hit the ice, and do you have a preseason schedule set, or is that still something you're trying to set up?
Well, we report for training camp August 25th. We have some team meetings, and the players will meet their billets, and then on the 26th we're probably going to do some type of team activity, and then on the 27th we're going to hit the ice for like 5 days, 4 days for sure, twice a day, and then that following weekend we have tentative games set up with the T-Birds.
Okay.
Exhibition, which I think we'll need. You can't have. I don't know if Doug agrees with me or not, but I think
I do.
If you have too many days of practice twice a day, the boys get a little too. They lose focus a little bit. So I think putting a couple of games in there is good for 2 reasons. One, for the boys to get their, keep their adrenaline going, and then it's good for us to evaluate players to see if they can start to put some pieces together with lines and see players' actual talent and evaluate them a little better.
Now, would the games be here in Sioux, Michigan like last year, or is that still being set up?
Unfortunately, the Puller's not going to open up to the 21st.
Right.
So we're going to play a game over there for sure, and we'll probably end up playing an exhibition at the Big Bear. My guess is.
Bruno Bragagnolo and Doug Laprade joining us on the game as we're talking Soo Eagles hockey. Coach, Doug Laprade here. So as far as the junior game compared to the college game and the high school game, which you have experience coaching, how's the transition going as far as, somebody that's played junior hockey? Obviously you're familiar, but being in as a coach, how's the transition so far?
Quite honestly, it's not much different at any level. I mean, the kids are they're committed. At certain levels at younger ages, they think they're committed. They might not be 100% compared to, like, say, a junior or college player, but in their minds they are committed. So that's the part that is the same. The high school kids, they worked hard. They didn't necessarily do all the right things, and I'm not talking about off the ice. I'm talking about, just with their programs or whatnot. But they believed they were doing the right things, and junior is the next step, and then to college is also one step further. College kids, they want to play pro hockey. I mean, junior kids want to play college hockey, and then it kind of trickles down. So, as far as my vision of what I've seen, it's pretty equal. when I was at high school, we didn't do a whole lot of different things than we did when I was in college, conceptually. So, my plan for this year is, just to get these kids rolling. I want them to come to the rink and be excited to come to the rink. I want them to be happy. Like, you can't. How many people do you know that are miserable do a good job, right?
Yeah.
In no matter if it's in sports or anything.
Yep.
So, my job is to motivate and teach, and we'll go from there. But I'm really excited about the kids we have. Like, I think Bruno and I talked. Like, I'm really excited about this team, and we'll go forward and see how we are.
Yeah, nice roster. I haven't had a chance to do a whole lot of research on some of these guys I don't know. We're looking forward to getting to know them. This being my 8th season coming back, believe it or not, for Hockey TV, covering the Soo Eagles. And Bruno, you and I have been doing this for a while. One of the things that I like best about the Soo Eagles is their involvement in the community. We don't see that from every team in this area, but the Eagles, I think, do a good job. Is that something that you are hoping to continue this season? What are some of the things that you have planned as far as involvement in the community and some of the special events that will be going on at the rink?
Oh, absolutely. We're going to continue to do that. We always try to increase it every year, and it all depends what opportunities, what's going on in the Soo, but we're always there to volunteer. We get a lot of calls from the Chamber of Commerce and different groups in town to help out, and we're more than always willing to do that. We're going to continue to do our annual visit to the nursing home,
Yep.
give out the gifts and stuff, and and then I would like to mention that we're going to have a couple of we're going to have a scholarship set up for Mr. Benedict, who passed away
Yes.
the past year. One of our from day one, he was probably one of him and Alma, probably our top 2 fans, and he unfortunately passed away this past spring.
Yeah.
And then we have a scholarship fund set up. So near the end of the year, we're going to pick one of our boys who are going to college, and we're going to give him. He's going to be granted a $1,000 scholarship to wherever he goes in
Excellent.
the name of Phil Benedict. And that's one thing we're going to do. But we have a lot of things planned. It's probably, if I started talking about them, it would take too long.
We'll get them covered here on the game this year. Final question for you, Coach Laprade. Playing at the Puller now, I always like to mention this anytime I talk about the Soo Eagles. You've had a chance to play and coach at the Puller, and as years go on, there are fewer and fewer buildings like Puller Stadium. How big of an advantage is that, not just playing, coaching, witnessing, but to get players up here to play in a rink like that? That's got to be a great selling point.
Well, yeah, and the thing about the camp is that the boys, we took them this weekend to look at the rink, and
Right.
it's not even a shell of what it is when the ice is in and the people are in the building, right? It's just an empty rink
Sure.
right now, and it's still impressive. There are, where I grew up in Thunder Bay, Ontario. There's a rink. There's an arena called the Fort William Gardens, and it's just like the Puller. It's a little bit bigger,
Yep.
but it when I look back at my hockey career, whatever you call it, if you call it a career,
You
or
got
not,
drafted. It's a pretty good career, national championship, not bad.
Either way, you know what I remember? I remember those things like the arena. I remember the boys and the guys. You mentioned national championship. I could tell you 2 things about that game right now. I mean, it was a long time ago,
Sure.
obviously, and I'm getting old, so I don't remember very well. But I can tell you I remember the guys and the rinks and the times we had. So I think with regards to that arena, the Puller, I think that those kids are going to really enjoy that. And especially when we put some people in the stands. I mean, you can put 2,000 people in that arena, but if you put 700, 800, 900 people in that arena, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's a big advantage for us as far as our fans packing that place and watching our team. And those kids are going to be pumped up every single time they play, right? And I know some of the arenas that we play in, and they're all nice arenas,
Sure.
but they're not the same. Now, let's face it, I can't think of too many arenas that are the exact same as the Puller or even in that ballpark. So I think the Puller is a great arena for our caliber of hockey. I think when you put some people in it, it's fantastic. And hey, there are little quirks about that arena too that I know about since I've been coaching in there quite a long time and playing a little men's league in there.
Oh, yeah.
You have some things that you know about that. Other people won't. So Yeah, I'm excited. I'm really excited about the team. I'm excited about the facility, the community. I'll tell you one thing. I've always followed the Soo Eagles ever since Paul Terrell came in and started it.
Yeah.
And whether I was with high school or Lake Superior State, I've always followed the Eagles, and I've gone to games. And one of the things, though, I was very, very impressed with was when Bruno agreed to hire me, was the following the Eagles have. I really didn't know that. Because how would you, right? You're a fan,
Sure.
You go to games. I'll tell you what, there's a lot of passionate people in this town of ours that really, really, are passionate about the Eagles, and I'm very impressed about it. So I'm really excited to get going. I'm really excited at what the guys we have, and I can hardly wait to get going here.
We are looking forward to it as well. Head coach Doug Laprade from the Soo Eagles, general manager Bruno Bragagnolo joining us here at the Wicked Sister. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us. We'll definitely get you on several times this year. Looking forward to talking Soo Eagles hockey here on the game, broadcasting it for Hockey TV with the new HD camera, Bruno. Looking forward to that. It's going to be a great way to watch the Eagles if you can't make it.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. I got to stop here and give you kudos because you've done a phenomenal job. I didn't even realize it's been 8 years.
Yeah. Time
Gone
flies.
by pretty quick, and that's what happens when you start to get too old. That's why I have to hire the young guys like Doug.
That's
and
right.
Alex, take care.
Young men like Doug Laprade.
But
say that
I want
twice,
to thank
see what happens.
Again and again. Every time I go to a league meeting, you guys are tops as far as the broadcasting crew. I get compliments every single league meeting, all the time. I get emails all the time from parents. So thanks for the great job there, Scott.
I appreciate that, Bruno. Bruno Bragagnolo, Doug Laprade joining us on the game, gentlemen. We'll talk to you in September, and best of luck this season.
Thanks, Scott.
Thanks, Scott.
And that's going to do it here for this segment. We'll be back with Butch Davis from the Telegram News and Butch on Sports, up net on the game, here on Eagle 95.1.
The Wicked Sister, Soo, Michigan. Check TripAdvisor, ranked right towards the top. Awarded the Certificate of Excellence, as well as voted #1 pub in the UP. The Wicked Sister has managed to create a casual menu that offers unique, creative, and sometimes healthy offerings that rivals menu selections of any big city. Burgers and starters, snacks and shareables, soups and salads, sandwiches and tapas. On Ashman Street, Soo, Michigan. Welcome to the Wicked Sister, where you'll be treated like family, whether you like it or not.
The Game Sports Show would like to thank a list of additional sponsors. North Shore Sports and Auto, new location located on 647 McDonald Avenue, Sault Ste. Marie. A family-owned and operated business with doing business in Sault Ste. Marie for over 10 years. Loads of products available for your enjoyment for all seasons. North Shore Sports and Auto, we understand the importance of quality service and products, and we work hard to ensure that all customers have a positive experience before and after each and every sale. North Shore Sports and Auto, meeting all of your new and pre-owned equipment needs. Special thanks to Salon. The Salon, located on 589 2nd Line East, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Owned and operated by Mike Cuglietta. Book your appointment today at 705-941-9191 or via online at https://thesalonsoo.as.me-. The Salon, making the Soo beautiful, one haircut at a time. As well as a shout out to the Soo Pee Wee Pro Shop. The Soo Pee Wee Pro Shop, located inside the Community First Credit Union Soo Pee Wee Arena on 285 Northern Avenue East, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. Owned and operated by Jeremy Paquin and ran by Larry Monroe. Soo Pee Wee Pro Shop for over 40 years, meet all of your skate sharpening, skate repair, and hockey needs. Also to Discover the Canvas. Discover the Canvas, located on 317 Wellington Street West, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario. A beautiful new renovated building owned and operated by expert artist and Sioux native Katrina Thibodeau. Katrina taking her talents of the ink in Sault Ste. Marie and truly creating the best and most realistic art locally. Call Katrina today at 705-450-8099 or email her at discoverthecanvas@gmail.com to book your tattoo or consultation today.
Welcome back to the game on Eagle 95.1 and online at thegamesportshow.com, thegamesportshow.podbean.com, or just YouTube at Scott Nason. We are here at the Wicked Sister on Ashman Street on this first Monday of August 6th. I want to thank our guests so far, including Butch Davis, who is joining us here for the round table, along with Bruno Bragagnolo and head coach Doug Laprade from the Soo Eagles. And we are joined right now by our next guest, co-host, host of the Game Sports Show in like 25 locations now, I believe, Dave McCaig here at the Wicked Sister. Kegger, how you doing, my friend?
Scotty, I'm doing great, my friend. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Always good to have the gang assemble. We're hoping to have EJ Russell during at least part of the round table as EJ got hung up a little bit at work.
Oops.
Katie Woolen, EJ's been a while, but he's back. Katie Woolen, who normally joins us, is playing a playoff slow pitch softball game tonight.
Oh, big game.
So Katie will join us next week. So we have a full hour of the round table. Myself, you, Dave, and Butch. And so I'm going to give the floor to you, Dave, since you are our newest guest, as far as what topic you want to bring up to tonight's roundtable, and I'll give Butch first crack at the topic. So, Dave, what's on your mind, sir?
Well, the first thing I want to say is Goldberg got arrested today.
Bill Goldberg, the wrestler?
No, not Bill Goldberg. What's the Goldberg from the Anaheim, or not the Anaheim Ducks? Wow, now I'm really spitballing. The Mighty Ducks.
No.
The goaltender for Goldberg, the goaltender for the Mighty Ducks movies, got arrested.
The actor.
It's a fun fact. The actor got arrested. He looks like he's 75 years old.
He's aged worse
he's
than
only
we have.
39. Holy God! You can see that article on Barstool. It's
Okay.
pretty hilarious. But a lot of funny quotes have come with that. But that's not the topic I want to bring to the table. I just want to bring that easily, just a little laugh to the table. I want to talk about Roberto Osuna getting traded. I want to go there with the Toronto Blue Jays. You know, there was a lot of issue with the Toronto Blue Jays and Roberto Osuna due to him having sexual harassment and assault charges with the female in Toronto. That's the exact charges that were going against him. And he had 75 games he was suspended for, and then he had a little stint down in AAA and getting back into rehab assessment before he was going to go back up to the majors. And then the Toronto Blue Jays traded him to the Houston Astros for Giles and a couple of prospects. And Roberto Osuna, a lot of people know him, a fan favorite in Toronto. There's a guy who, the first youngest pitcher to ever get to 100 saves, quickest to ever get to that. And the reason why I want to bring this to the table is we don't know what the reason is why they traded him. You have to suspect that it is because of that issue with the girl in Toronto that occurred. And I hope that is the reason why they traded him, because if there was any other reason that they traded him for, I think it's an absolute, let's say, disgrace. I don't think it would be a good move for the Toronto Blue Jays to trade Roberto Osuna. So my question I want to bring to the table is the reaction about the trade, yes. But also in terms of if you were a GM making that trade, that must be difficult to do. Would you make that trade just because of something going on? Does that affect you that's going on outside the field or on the ice or on the court, whatever it may be? Or do you not make that trade? Because honestly, that's a tough deal to make.
Yeah, there's a USA Today headline, as Astros welcome Roberto Osuna, they wave goodbye to their integrity. That according to one of their writers. Butch, I'll let you get first crack at Dave's topic, sir.
Toronto has made a lot of goofy little moves here lately and a whole heck of a lot of sports there. So I don't want to be too rough on the brass in Toronto or whatever it may be, but if I was a general manager, I would not make that trade. And specifically, here's the reasons in general here. Is the particular dealing with the young lady, is that in litigations or something right now? For what I understand, it's not, or it has been cleared up. If it has been cleared up, and then Major League Baseball stepped in and gave one of the biggest fines, according to their methods, of 75 games for that particular there. I mean, has this guy paid enough? You know, is Toronto nurturing their particular player, making sure that he gets the assistance and help he needs in order to, I say, stay clean? Maybe that's the word I'm going to use with it there, in order to be a mecca for that particular team in general, and for further there. You know, Toronto's not that far off for being a good team. And they're a lot better than what we're seeing with Detroit Tigers there. That's for doggone sure. But again, you know, this is a young kid, okay? How is he being harvested by other players on the team there? And, you know, we don't have all the inside information, at least I don't, on why he was traded to Houston there. I know one thing for sure, Houston has gotten a player, if they can nurture him, give him a clean slate, players around him, and give him the assistance and the help that he needs, along with the professional people around there, this young man should be all right and be forgiven. But again, in society today, where the media and I hate to say this about a lot of media people in general, that and that's to be spoken with a lot of things, especially this weekend going on with the Terrell Owens particular there that we'll speak on later on. It's very bad that sensationalism has gotten in front of doing real good journalism and research in order to find out the real truth of a particular story. Again, let's give the young man, the opportunity to flourish. But again, in answer to your question, Dave, I would not have made that trade. There's no way I would give them someone who's that talented, and that could be the mecca of Toronto's upbringing there on their team. It's hard to get Osunas around here, okay? And just to give them away just like that, to use them, I'm not quite sure they'll get some players, hopefully respectable enough to move Toronto forward. But again, I would not make that trade at all, period.
Yeah, let's look at the facts as far as Osuna. He was arrested and charged with assaulting his girlfriend May 8th in Toronto. He is due in court on September 5th, expected to plead not guilty. And, these days, the Me Too, what is going on as far as accusations. We're going to talk more about that, I'm sure, with Urban Meyer, not directly with him, but what's going on at Ohio State. That's a topic I want to bring up. I know EJ would like to talk about that. And, you look at Houston. From Houston's perspective, they have a zero-tolerance policy on domestic violence. Now, that's quite interesting that they would make a move for somebody. And again, he's been accused of something. We haven't had a trial. We haven't had a verdict. And so, like Butch mentions, there's a lot of sensationalism just because there's an accusation. And I'm not defending Osuna. I'm not, laying judgment on the female. But there is a process that people that do get charged with crimes have to go through. And until that totally plays out, we really can't say too much about that. But to get to your particular statement, Dave, is, that was a tough trade for Toronto to make. Obviously, Houston is getting a player who very well could help them get back to the World Series and repeat as champions, but at what price? Because, we don't know how this is all going to end up. If the trial is September, and then who knows what happens between now and then, if there's a plea deal, if there's a long trial. It's just, it's a lot. But I just find it interesting that Houston Astros, they pride themselves on a zero-tolerance domestic abuse policy, and they go and get a player that has accusations of just that. I find that very interesting as a general manager. I mean, that's tough for both Houston and Toronto. Obviously, Toronto's losing a talented pitcher, but somebody that is going through potentially something that could end his career, could put him in jail for all we know. But again, we don't know until all the facts play out. So what are your thoughts, sir?
Well, I got to say that there's Roberto Osuna, who has battled a lot of mental health issues as well prior to this incident even occurring. And being at a young age, he's had a rough go as a child, too. And he's coming over to Canada. I imagine there's a little bit of an issue. I know me pointing fingers saying that Shapiro and Atkins are maybe dumb for trading them, but maybe there is something behind the scenes that we don't know in terms of the charges about him getting deported, or if he won't be allowed in Canada anymore, if it goes that extreme, or, if you have the situation where you just have to make that trade because you think that it needs to happen, where I got to side with Butch and say that, I agree 100% they shouldn't have made that trade. I don't really, you're not guilty until proven guilty, okay? And if he is proven guilty, and then the league will handle it, and the Blue Jays could have handled it at that time. Roberto Osuna is arguably the best young closer in baseball. He got 100 saves. He's the youngest player to do so, to get to that milestone in the amount of games that he did. So the talent is there, and how good he is, it's amazing. And Houston Astros did get better, Scott. Absolutely. They got one of, like I said, the best closers, in my opinion, in baseball when he's playing the game and he's not distracted. Roberto Osuna is a big reason why that the Blue Jays had a big run that they did, and he had, I believe, over 30 consecutive saves in his rookie season. So I gotta tell you right now that the Toronto Blue Jays making this trade is absolute idiocy. I just think that you don't react on the way that they did. You wait for the trial to pan out because this kid has done everything he can for Toronto. He bled the Blue Jay blue, and he loved that organization, loved the fans. He loved being a part of that organization in general. And to move a player whom is loyal, and when you're speaking in the world of baseball, a lot of players aren't loyal to the Toronto Blue Jays unless they're getting traded there and forced to be there. Donaldson, Tulowitzki, to name a few.
You had a few in mind.
They have a few in mind, and to have a talent like that, you're not going to get another Roberto Osuna come through the ranks. And I feel that if they would have been patient, allowed him to get back on his game, and after he's proven not guilty or guilty, whatever it is, you judge from there. And him pleading not guilty is going to make this trial drag out longer. And like I said, maybe the Blue Jays had to trade him based on this move, and if they had to, I would blame the league, that I think that's unfair, that they would have maybe forced Toronto's hand, or the law for forcing Toronto's hand. But again, Houston Astros won this trade. Unless Giles gets back to his old form, then it's almost an even trade. But I'm not going to hold my breath for that, especially being a Toronto fan. So I really think they made a dumb move, the Toronto Blue Jays, and I feel they should have waited. And Roberto Osuna definitely deserved a chance to remain where he wanted to be, and that was in Toronto.
Butch, final thoughts on this topic if you have any, and then I'll have you throw out one of your own, sir.
I'll tell you one thing. If Osuna gets in any problems in Texas, they ain't going to be fooling around with him deep in the heart of Texas.
No.
Not at all here. But, again, I kind of agree. I very much so agree with both of you guys in your comments there. Until this guy is proven guilty, which, again, we don't have all the facts. We don't know everything. And it's very hard for me to see Toronto trade someone who has been so much of a pedestal toward that particular team. It's very hard to get another closer, or for that matter, any player who put as much stock as that young man has done. So you kind of look at the particular in there as Toronto being a lot more supported than they should have been, or they're just sweeping things under the carpet there, or under the rug, I should say, because, carpets you can tack down, the rug you can escape from. Again, let's wait and see. September will be his day where he says not guilty. He's not going to be able to play in the playoffs, and that has been already established by Major League Baseball. He's not going to be eligible for the playoffs. So whatever they get out of him, he is going to get him out of the regular season. Again, it's a bad move for Toronto.
Butch, what topic would you like to bring up on tonight's roundtable, my friend?
Certainly beating the brooms or whatever it may be here. I'm going to deal with the Terrell Owens situation there and why he changed his tune and going to Canton, Ohio there. And I listened to his speech very carefully, which lasted about an hour and 5 minutes there, him thanking everyone under the sun. His major concern is that media people are making it very difficult for people to get in the Hall of Fame, in which I agree with that statement wholeheartedly, okay? And should not be making those particular decisions. Now, we just had an incident last weekend, okay, on the Allen Tramble, Jack Morris got into the Hall of Fame, but again, you omit Lou Whitaker, which is
right.
You can't take one without the other. And so, again, I highly agree with that particular there, but should the media be deeply involved in selecting or persecuting people from getting or to get into the Hall of Fame in all sports for that matter?
Great question, Butch. I'll start, talking about Terrell Owens and, holding his own Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I didn't get a chance to see the speech or hear it, but he did attempt a comeback. He was among a group of players yesterday in Tennessee as working out for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, not to be confused with the Ottawa Roughriders, formerly of the Canadian Football League. Owens said, he's truly blessed that he can still play the game at age 44. I got to give him a lot of credit for that, being that we are the same age. But getting to Butch's question as far as, biases and media members, you almost wish you had an independent counsel, so to speak, if there is such a thing, to make these selections as far as the Hall of Fame. Butch gives a great example of, how the heck can you induct Alan Trammell in the Hall of Fame and not Lou Whitaker? Those two guys were side by side. Whitaker has better numbers and was probably a better player at his position than Alan Trammell. Don't get me wrong. I like Alan Trammell. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve be in the Hall of Fame. But Terrell Owens brings up a good point as far as the media members and some of their biases, and I'll say it, some of their racist biases in many cases. I'm not, totally head in the sand to see that race doesn't play a part in some of these things. And, I think I like Terrell Owens. I've always liked him as a player, and I think that he's standing up for what he believes in. And you look at, the NFL right now, kind of take a little detour from the topic. You look at the quarterback for Dallas there, Prescott. He got a lot of trouble for talking about the national anthem and how he wants to go out there and stand proud. I'm not saying we're not going to get in the national anthem debate, but you know what? People have a right to speak their mind, to protest, and we need more dialogue in this country. Butch, you've been a great proponent on this show about that. People need to talk more. People need to, air out these things rather than just, do this and do that. I know I'm kind of swerving a little bit here, but I think Terrell Owens has a good point. I think we need to find a better way to select these individuals. I don't know if it's a fan vote. I don't know if it's an independent council, so to speak, but to get media members here who many of them have their own biases, whether it be for their region or even for their race. I think it's something that definitely needs to be looked at. Dave, your thoughts?
Wow.
Getting heavy here in this first segment.
I'd say,
we?
with the Osuna thing there, now we're jumping into this. I like that.
I'll wait till Urban Meyer that I bring up.
Oh, this is a great, this is nice. But anyways, I got to say flat out say that media should not be involved, I think, in selecting the Hall of Fame. I'm going to say that a lot of the biases that are involved, the prejudices, the racism, like you guys said, I couldn't agree more, so I don't have to dive into those points. I think that media has its own stand. We do our job providing the news, the updates, and the entertainment to the listeners and to the, I say we because I say that we are media individuals, and we are so. So it's being realists. I think that's what media people have to be. And also, like I said, big thing is providing entertainment to the listeners or the broadcast, whatever they may be doing in their certain positions. So do they deserve to have an input? To be honest, I don't feel media people should. I really have two ways that I'd like to look at this as. I really think of it either as a board committee that selects it, a private board committee that nobody knows the names of except the respective league, individuals that are well respected, and hopefully none of them are media individuals or former players, or they're just professional individuals who have strong educations, PhDs, those type of individuals that have high education that could really analyze why someone should be there. That's one thing that I would for sure go for. Or the other thing, if you really want to go this route, I really think you could make it a owners or fans vote without the media. Okay, now I know fans, they're going to choose their favorite individuals and all that, but I think having the fans or owners of the active teams involved would be most efficient because it's not as biased as adding the media and all that. And I got to say that I think it's an absolute joke that Barry Bonds is not in the Hall of Fame. I'm sorry. He's not. And also I don't think, I think Sammy Sosa's not. I don't know if Mark McGuire is. I don't know if someone could second that, but I don't think he is. I really don't think Alex Rodriguez is going to get into the Hall of Fame. Now, I know everyone points. I know I'm like you, Scott. I'm kind of veering here, but the point is, sure, they had performance enhancement drugs. I get it, okay? And for anyone to tell me that they wouldn't have done that, what A-Rod did secretly and get away with it, trust me, they're lying to you because I know I would have. I know probably Butch would have. Butch, you can answer that in a second. But Scotty, yourself, if anyone would to come up to me and say, hey, this will make you hit 60 home runs this year and it gets me a $30 million contract guaranteed, you know what? Not saying I'm not an honest individual, but whatever way to make me the best, I'll be the best. And I really think it's an absolute joke that Barry Bonds is not in the Hall of Fame. That just flourishes me. I just don't get it. Why he is not in the Hall of Fame. That's one prime example where if you got the fans voting, they would vote Barry Bonds, I think. If you had a team of professional individuals who are PhDs or have those education and can really analyze, they'll say, okay, you know what? It's not just the drugs. Well, it's not just the enhancements that gave him this ability. He had natural ball talent. Barry Bonds was a good baseball player. It takes a lot of skill to be a first baseman, to field balls. Steroids don't do that for you. Steroids help you hit dingers out of the park, okay? And I really got to say that you got it. Those are the two options you can go, a board committee, or you know what, if you want to go the route of having people involved, get the fans and or the owners or the active teams involved now, not the media.
Butch, great topic, lots of discussion. Your thoughts?
You guys hit everything on the head, like a dime here. Yes, it is prejudice to go on here in certain areas of expertise in these Hall of Fame. We can start off with Pete Rose, okay? Although doing the bad thing of gambling, which is again in certain places legal, in certain places not. Was he doing all this during his player days and whatever? Maybe so. But do that take away from him playing the game of baseball and being one of the best he can be? No. He wasn't caught with no drugs. He wasn't caught with no enhancements. He just went out there and did things the old-fashioned way here by just being tough and getting it done. And for Pete Rose to be omitted, that's a joke. And that's the biggest joke in town. I can look at Terrell Owens' situation there. He quandered about it. This is the third time a vote. Okay, well, why is it the third time a vote when this is a guy that I remember when he came back from injury for the Philadelphia Eagles was the best player out there, and it was only 70% of what he should have been. Okay, and still outplayed everybody. And he could have easily been crippled for life in that particular game, but again came out there and was one of the best players out there on the field on that particular day, although his team lost. And, I squandered over that there. I'm with the media a lot, okay? And I don't mean no harm. But I know media players and media positions and media attributes and whatnot. Some of the media people there I wouldn't bring to a dog fight, okay? Much less a cat fight or have a beer with them. It's just that phony, okay? It's very hard to find a good person like a Joe Falls or Once Upon a Time I Got the New or
great person.
Other people that basically looked at this business as you doing your job as a media person, doing all the research you possibly can, and bringing about the best article and being objective on it on both sides of the fence. We don't have that anymore. Many people give more stock to TMZ than I watch Captain Kangaroo. And I look at Captain Kangaroo more than I look at the crap on TMZ there. But it's gotten to a place where we want to be popular. We want to start crap up. We want to shake the pot and whatever it may be. And it's gotten very much so ridiculous out here. As far as some of our media people getting out there doing their job, end up finding favoritism in what they do, end up co-cocking other media people. And I'm going to say with the Detroit Lions on credentialing and whatnot there. I was a regular credentialer. Now they're going but game by game for me because I'm with a smaller conglomerate than the bigger conglomerate. Now, my question is to Detroit Lions is who moved in where I got moved out or you don't have room for me? So again, I'll reign the day on that particular subject when I get to go down there and see them and have a conversation with them one-on-one. And that'll change, hopefully, quicker, faster than a hurry. But again, media has to learn how to get some integrity there. I say it a lot to many people and students where I have, sometimes the responsibility in having to talk with them or maybe talking to a class and all. And some of the students ask, well, what would you watch? Okay. And I've always mentioned the BBC. Okay. And if you can't watch the BBC, then watch the CBC, okay? Watch someone, watch a conglomerate that does the work, okay? CBC does an excellent job because they'll run a story and get it done and look at all the factors, and it takes 15 or 20 minutes, they get it done. And you don't have to worry about the commercials and all that other stuff and the this and the that and the other. And right now, NBC, ABC, and CBS, they've gone hog wild and just not getting it done. And again, it's not making the job of journalist very popular anymore, although it's not popular as far as the best jobs to get in this country there. You know, a lot of people frown. If you want to be a journalist or a media person, you're on your own. And you and I, Scott, has talked about that greatly, you know, through the time you've known me there, that how people approach the media and whatnot. And again, it's got to improve, okay? These players right now, they do their darndest to be the very best they can be. They deserve a lot more than someone who's not played the game, don't care about it, but gets an open field to come in there because they're with a major conglomerate and think they're king for a day or for a year to cause hardship on someone, in fact, that they don't have the right to do. So that's why I brought it up there. Hopefully that improves.
Great topic, Butch. Great topic, Dave. Butch Davis, Dave McCaig, Scott Nason here for the second half of our roundtables. We're broadcasting from the Wicked Sister on Ashman Street. We'll have a show next week, August 13th, and we're going to take the following Monday off. I'm going to be out of town visiting my sister in Appleton, Wisconsin, so we'll be back on August 27th. Let's continue the roundtable portion of our show. I will go first. Dave, I'll give you first crack. Well, kind of continuing with some of the themes here during the roundtable. Butch broke the news here as far as Butch on Sports when it happened there about a week ago, last week, as the investigation of Ohio State head coach Urban Meyer's handling of a domestic violence complaint against a former assistant now is expected to be complete within 14 days, as the school announced in a statement last night. Per the school's release, the special independent working group formed to direct the investigation easy for me to say. Let's start this over. Met late in the week and appointed a chair and engaged an investigation firm. Meyer was placed on administrative leave last Wednesday as the school announced it was investigating Courtney Smith's claims that several people close to Meyer knew of a 2015 allegation of domestic violence against her ex-husband, former Ohio State assistant coach Zach Smith, who was fired last month. Offensive coordinator Ryan Day was named acting head coach in Meyer's absence. Meyer issued a statement last Friday saying that he, quote, failed, unquote, when he denied knowing about domestic violence against Zach Smith. Meyer said July 24th that he knew nothing about a 2015 complaint or any other domestic issues that Smith had during the 6 years Meyer and Smith worked together at Ohio State. This week, Courtney Smith provided text messages to college football reporter Brett McMurphy between her and Meyer's wife that detailed years of domestic violence. Courtney Smith said she was not sure whether Urban Meyer knew about the allegations. So, Dave, this is something that has really rocked the college football world and especially the Big Ten as far as one of the best coaches in America now dealing with an issue where it didn't directly involve him as far as these allegations of abuse, but according to the former assistant coach's wife, she shared that information with Urban Meyer's wife, who's also a university employee at Ohio State. Urban Meyer's also obviously an employee of Ohio State. And now Urban Meyer is really kind of hanging on for dear life as far as his job. He's had a lot of support from the Ohio State fans in Columbus, but it just kind of brings a bigger issue as far as, again, I mentioned it earlier, the Me Too, as far as what we're seeing in Hollywood for Harvey Weinstein and many of these. We saw Les Moonves, the chairman at CBS, be accused of sexual harassment. And again, accused and being guilty of are two different things. I mean, and many times they go together, many times they don't. And in this case, we don't know. Again, we just have information from text messages and what she said, and then this gentleman's denying that the allegations ever, or that the instances ever happened. But Urban Meyer, somebody that didn't do it, but was aware of it and didn't report it, it could cost him his job. What are your thoughts on that situation before we go to Butch for his?
Wow. Definitely a deep roundtable.
We are getting pretty deep tonight.
I like that. It's still positive vibes, though. It's just bringing up some good discussion.
But it's stuff that people are talking about, too.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It's good stuff to talk about. Well, I shouldn't say it's good stuff to talk about, but you know what I mean by that. First thing I got to say is that if you know something is happening and you don't act upon it, you're an accomplice still. You're just as guilty as you're doing it. All right, it could go at any stage of life. If you know someone's cheating on their wife and they're your friend, or if you know somebody's getting abused, or there's adultery, whatever there is, if you know what's going on and you don't man up or girl up, whatever the term is,
person
up, let's go with that, person up for the situation and own up to it, and stand up for your friends and all that, whatever the right term would be, you're just as guilty, is what I mean. And I really think that if Coach Urban Meyer didn't stand up or he didn't speak up, there's the word I was looking for, speak up when he knew something was occurring, then he is just as bad as the individuals who did it. End of story. So I got to say that if he does get proven guilty of these allegations that are towards him through these text messages and through Courtney Smith and his wife and everything like that, if he is proven guilty of being more so the accomplice side, he most definitely deserves to lose his job. I don't care how good of a coach that he is. When it comes to that, there is absolutely no tolerance in this kind of field. And if I was the president, if I was his boss, whatever it may be for the organization, there would be a zero tolerance thing, much like I can go back to the Houston Astros thing. No domestic violence, there's no drama. When you're in this limelight, college football, hockey, professional football, hockey, baseball, whatever the sport is, you're under a different spotlight. You have to be mature and you have to be professional. Everything you do, you'll be scrutinized by. Every way you breathe, every way you step, any clothes that you wear, you're going to get judged on. And that's how it is. And he has the reputation of being a great coach, and he's going to be under the spotlight even more because of his elite status as a coach. So anything that's going to come out towards him is going to be negative. And like you said, anything can be said until you're proven guilty. And if he is proven guilty, though, to answer your question, yes, 100%. He deserves to lose a job. If he's innocent, then this deserves to be put under the rug based on this incident. And I feel that Urban Meyer should continue to be able to coach. But again, to have something brought up like this, a lot of people don't really lie about this kind of stuff. I know there's a lot of males or females that would lie about athletes in terms of sexual harassment. Sorry to say that bluntly, but it's true. There are females that like to get a quick payday. I'm sorry. There are males. It's the same way. But I think when someone brings up this far and shows texts and is really dominant, you can tell when someone is being truthful towards it. And Urban Meyer is in hot water. And if he was actually smart, he would probably if I was him, I would resign and I would focus on. And that doesn't mean that you're guilty. That means that you're focused on this. There's no distraction for the program and for the kids that are involved in the program. So I feel he should resign, let this space out, and when he's proven guilty or not guilty, take the next step towards your career after that.
Butch, let's go to you. You broke the news Wednesday night to our listeners on Butch on Sports. Your thoughts on the Urban Meyer situation?
Boy, when I heard it and I made a phone call to someone to get some laughs or whatever may be on the particular, the first thing we thought of is this another Penn State fiasco here?
Right.
And it looks like it's going to be that way, and it doesn't look good for Urban Meyer. One of the facts that we kind of chuckled on, but again, it's true. This guy has coached all the way back with Urban Meyer when he was with Florida, I do believe here. No one mentioned that there. But yes, this man has a history of Urban Meyer there. So for Irving to say that he didn't know anything about this and then he changed his story and said, yeah, maybe he has a bad move on his behalf there, okay? The bottom line is, should, again, the general public be the song or Satan of someone's career there? Again, we can go back to the Rice incident with the Ravens there, where basically he was caught beating, getting into fisticuffs with his fiance at that particular time. Now they're both married. They're both going around counseling people around the country. They're both doing great, but yet and still Rice couldn't even get a job in the NFL per se. Again, a blackball situation that shouldn't have never happened, but it did. Okay, if they didn't do nothing, the NFL didn't do nothing but hire him to, make those examples and go around the country about domestic violence and whatnot from both of those particulars. That would have been a win-win for the NFL, but it didn't happen. And this is the same thing with Ohio State right now. I'm saying, from what I'm getting right now, Urban Meyer had all information that this particular individual that we're talking about, Mr. Smith, has been having problems. Now, Mr. Smith, and let's not, sugarcoat this here. Smith did go on TV, on national television, and was interviewed and said that he was not the aggressor, okay? And being that he was not the aggressor and got proven, the police did not prosecute him. And that is a big, big statement here, which is true. The police did not go after him because, again, somewhere down the line, the police felt that he was not the aggressor. The bottom line on that particular was that if he was not the aggressor, why did not Smith press charges on the lady here who was beaten up, which was his wife,
right,
where he is exonerated and they can move forward to that there. And I think many times we don't look at the aggressor of the particular there. Now, it's nothing against the law saying about how your mouth can get you in trouble. And most of these particular brouhaha start with mouth service and lip service, and who's strong enough to take the doggone medicine and end up, in dire strait here. And 9 times out of 10, if it goes that way, the man is going to be held liable for it. I do not care, how many courts or whatever it may be you made. If you do not go forward with doing what you're supposed to do in the get-go, to stop it, okay, or find the accuser of it, it rests on the men. Now, I hate to say that. I think it got to be a lot more to this particular than reads the eye. But right now, everything points to Urban Meyer is not going to be with the Ohio State University too much longer. In 2 more weeks, we will receive a letter or statement from that board who's investigating this, stating the fact that Urban Myers is no longer the coach of Ohio State, which is a bad thing because, again, Urban Myers just could have came on out and told the truth. Urban Myers had the ability not to hire this particular individual. Somewhere down the line, he maybe thought that this particular individual, Mr. Smith, has overcome all these particular. Apparently, it hadn't. It had went on in the extremes of, going down to when he went to Ohio State and they still got into issues of the love-hate relationship that he had with his wife there. But again, I don't think Urban Meyer is going to be there. Particularly, that's just my feelings about it here. But what needs to happen, and again, and really, Coach Conley, I think a lot more honesty has to be dealt with these particular situations with man and woman getting in these brouhahas there. And I'm not citing 100% for women or men, but when you get in those particular situations, and I go along with Dave a whole heck of a lot here, when you're in a position where everyone is looking at you and everyone is finding a reason to hate your guts, okay, and we learned that, all of us have learned that when we went to college, okay? We learned in college that, regardless of how many people loved you when you was in high school, when you go to college, buddy, or you go to up your ante, how many people are going to hate your guts when you come back out there being successful, and then you proceed in showing that success, in general there, I'm quite sure there's some people who don't like us now for what we do now, okay? They smile and grin and say, yeah, you do a great job. Oh, and then as soon as you leave, you're no good, or who he think he is, or whatever. Maybe you're going to have that. And that's what I told one of the interns at the Telegram News just last Friday here, did you learn the first lesson in going to college? Yes, everybody is not going to like it, okay? And you got to learn how to kind of buck up, be strong with it. Don't let your emotions carry you to a point of non-return. And when I say non-return, getting into these fights or these arguments or even being in a relationship that's going to cause you hardship of reaching your goals there. So, again, this is kind of bad on Urban Meyer, but I don't think he's going to be with Ohio State too much longer.
Yeah, I'll keep it short, gentlemen, because you guys covered all the items I wanted to. I agree with Butch. I don't see how Urban Meyer survives this. The current climate and the culture that we are under, I think he's either going to resign before he gets fired or he's going to be fired. I just don't see any way out of it for him. Got about 15 minutes left here in the show. Gentlemen, E.J. Russell will not join us tonight. He got hung up at work trying to sell cars. I get it there. You got to sell those cars. I want to bring up one more topic here. I'm going to lighten it up a bit. Dave, I'll give you first crack. And I saw this on Twitter last week, and one of our big listeners, Don Supa, he had a good comment on this. And so I'm going to throw out this question to you, Dave, and to Butch. If you had the opportunity to relocate a professional sports franchise from its current location to another location, what franchise would you relocate, and where would you relocate it to? Dave? I'll do mine first so you guys can think about it here. And this is from Don Supa. I'm stealing this from you, Don. I give you full credit for that one. I will take Florida Panthers. I will relocate them to Quebec City. Bring back the Nordiques, baby. Bring back the uniforms. Bring back the Canadians-Nordiques rivalry. You don't need two teams in Florida. Get them out of there. Bring them back to Quebec City, who deserves a team. They got a great fan base. They have a great facility. That is where I would relocate my team. Dave?
So you're just one team. You want just
I
one.
mean, you could do a couple if you want, but at least one.
I want to think of each
sure.
Professional
you
sport.
can do each
I'll
sport.
Go that route.
However you want to do it.
You know what? I'm going to keep it simple with hockey because you took that rate from me, but I'm not saying Florida. Arizona.
Okay.
Arizona's got to get out of there. Sorry to Austin Matthews, as you grew up a Coyotes fan. I feel bad for you, chummy. But
Barrett Hayton?
Barrett Hayton being drafted. No, they have a lot of good young guys, but just can't get it together with their fans. I think you got to move Arizona, and you have to put them to Quebec. They're not Seattle. I know they're putting a team in Seattle in 2020, but come on, you got to have a team in Quebec. So I got to go with Arizona over to Quebec. And if I'm going to go with the NBA, I would like to see more Canadian teams. So I want to see the Vancouver Grizzlies back.
Oh, the Grizzlies back. Now from Memphis or from somewhere else?
But you know what? I'm going to pull... I'd love to say Cleveland as a joke, but I can't say Cleveland as a joke. I would say just expand. I don't know about teams in terms of pulling. If I had to relocate one, to really stick one out to relocate, I got to try to really think. I would say the Clippers because you have one team already in L.A. So I would say the Lakers, you keep them in L.A. and you put the Clippers back to Vancouver, or another Canadian franchise would be nice because of how big the Raptors have gotten. So I'll go with that road, sticking in Canada. If I'm going to go with professional football, one of the moves happened that I wanted to happen, and that's Oakland to Vegas. But I would have to try to get the Buffalo Bills to Toronto. I'm sticking to Canadian there, so I'd say give the Toronto, pull out the Argonauts from the joke CFL league that we call in Canada.
I watched a lot Saturday night with Johnny Manziel.
He had a great debut, eh?
Talk to him more about him later.
But I have to say with that. And with baseball, I am once again sticking towards Canada. Bring back those Spos.
Yes.
And, the team that you're getting out of there, wow.
Get them out of Washington. That's where they went. Bring them back.
Bring them back. We get out of Washington. You can go that route. Or if you want to get rid of Southside Chicago.
Oh,
I don't know if I should want to say that.
Get rid of the Cubs?
No, sorry, North Side.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, you're right.
Southside is the White Sox.
White Sox, yep.
I would say move the White Sox.
Okay.
I think you can potentially move them. You may be able to move the Marlins because they don't have a strong fan base, but Jeter's
500
there.
A game doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't. So you might have to go one of those two teams. If I had to really stick to it now that I say it, I would say move the Marlins where the Expos is and go the Montreal Marlins. M&M, baby. And get them back at Exhibition Stadium. So those are the teams that I'd go with. All Canadian.
Yeah,
wow.
I see that. Butch, we're lightening it up here after a very serious roundtable. Your thoughts as far as relocating a franchise? If you had that ability, you can do one. You can do one in each sports. What say you?
Okay, well, we'll do one in each sport here. Let's look at the Tampa Bay Rays there. Oh, boy. what a slop house. You know you're not going to get the Marlins out of there. And for whatever it's worth, I like to see the Tampa Bay Rays go to Montreal. I think it's well overdue. I think Montreal got a raw deal, and from Major League Baseball in general. And every year, I always make sure that I watch the pregame to the Major League season, which is to me is the best game in time to see the Blue Jays play in Montreal. Those people turn out like Hawks were getting free slop there, man. And the big fans there. Baseball was live and well there. I remember when I took my first trip a long time ago to Jerry Park and then the Olympic Stadium there, which is a huge place to be. People were grand with that there. So that would be Tampa Bay would go to Montreal. In hockey, I would say the Arizona team go to Portland. Okay, I'm so sorry that I don't. Seattle has a problem getting a good arena there, and I know they have the numbers more than Portland, but Portland has been very, very, very visual when it comes down to a professional team, and no other franchise I think deserves a hockey team more than Portland does. And I think if you put a National Hockey League team in Portland, that would thrive and it would sell out. That would be my choice for there. For football, I have a problem with Buffalo, but I would like to see Buffalo play maybe half their games in Toronto. That's just a gimme there. Toronto does support the Buffalo Bills in general. They're very close until you have expansion. And I think NFL hasn't talked about it, but I think expansion needs to be brought to the Canadian Football League in general. I like to see a football team not only in Toronto, but I like to see one in Vancouver as well. They have the stadiums that can supply that. And also in Montreal, give that very big situation there, some numbers there. I know they've been talking about going to London, but again, that's something to think about too. Oh boy, who did I miss? Basketball. Oh, although they got a brand new arena, I like to see the Nets go to, I don't know. I like to see them go to maybe the Grizzlies. I think they'd like to go to Vancouver. I would like to see that. I think New York has the state power there, and they have the arenas and whatnot there. But again, they have a problem with the Knicks. I mean, how can they flourish with the Nets there? So there's my answers right there.
Great job, gentlemen. I'll add to that since you guys added some sports. Basketball, I totally agree. Take Brooklyn or Memphis, either one. Bring him back to Vancouver. Big country Bryant Reeves. I remember him playing for the Grizzlies back from Oklahoma State. Was a big fan of him. Let's bring back the Vancouver Grizzlies. Football, I'm thinking after watching Saturday's CFL game, I'm going to go out of the NFL to the CFL, get the Alouettes out of there, bring them back to Ottawa so you can have two teams in the league that have the same nickname, the Rough Riders and the Rough Riders. Remember, Ottawa was the Rough Riders back in the day, and Saskatchewan still is the Rough Riders, so I just always got a kick out of an 8-team league you had two with the same nickname. I mean, come on,
it's the Red Blacks.
That's right, yeah. Get rid of that one, too. What are we playing, checkers? I mean, come on. And baseball, no-brainer. I love Montreal. You guys both said it. I'm sorry, Los Angeles. You got the Angels. Get the Dodgers the heck out of Los Angeles. Bring them back to Brooklyn, baby. Ebbets Field, Brooklyn's Dodgers.
Wow,
Come on.
I like that.
They were ripped out of that.
Jackie Robinson.
That's right. They were ripped out of that community to Los Angeles. You got the Angels. Bye-bye, Dodgers. Let's get to our thumbs up and thumbs down for the week, gentlemen. Dave, we'll start with you, and then Butch, what do you got for thumbs up and thumbs down, sir?
I'm going to start with the thumbs down. I'm going to start with, I have two of them. I'm going to go to Ross Adkins and Mark Spiro, trading Roberto Osuna. That's the big thumbs down for me still, despite. And another thumbs down to the great Johnny Manziel on his performance. I don't know if that's a thumbs up or thumbs down, but I'm sticking it with it.
I watched that whole first half. My God.
I've never seen a disaster.
Be a Lions fan, trust me, I've seen them.
Oh, that is hilarious. I just laugh. Now, I'm going to go with a thumbs up. I'm going to go to Northern Superior Brewery. I'll go with that in Soo, Ontario. Great launch show yesterday. Check it out on the Podbean page. And the plans that they have for us that I can't really say is absolutely amazing. So thanks to all of our sponsors, obviously. But I got to give a shout out to Northern Superior Brewery and obviously to Trevor Zachary doing an amazing job already, just putting his hands on the show. Love it.
Yeah, great. And you can find that at thegamesportshow.com or thegamesportshow.podbean.com. Butch Davis, your thumbs up and thumbs down for the week, sir.
The thumbs down for the Ohio State and how they're handling this particular BS that we have to sit up there and be digested with for 2 weeks and listen to all the stations waste their time on there. It's perfectly obvious that Urban Meyer is going to get fired, or hopefully he just resigns and go back to Florida or wherever he came from there. A pitiful job on that behalf. I'm going to give a thumbs up to Johnny Manziel. Not so much in the game, because I saw it too. I saw the whole doggone game here. And it took a lot of beers to get through that there. But Darsekis was my friend. I'll tell you right now, the way that young man handled himself during post-game in the interview session there was I tipped my hat off to him there. You know, he was very humble. And one of the statements he made is that this game will humble you. I seem to be a lot more amped up than I should have been. I am responsible for why they lost. And really, he was not, okay? He was not responsible. The responsibility comes with the coaching staff that he has to get a lot more in tone with the players that he's playing with there. Because Montreal, really, their team stinks, okay? I'm telling you right now from looking at that as I'm listening to thunder in the background of my home. But I tell you, the team stinks. But Manziel, he took it on the chin and he handled himself tremendous. Once upon a time, he would not done that there, okay? So this young man is growing up. I think he'll be a lot better in what he's doing. Hopefully Sherman and the staff members get together. They got about a week to 10 days to get themselves together, to familiarize themselves with each other, and hopefully there'll be a better team after that there.
Great stuff, gentlemen. I have one thumbs down and one thumbs up. Brace yourself, Dave. Thumbs down to President Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Friday, LeBron James was interviewed as far as for many things, in addition a school that he is opening up. E.J. Russell and I talked about that in our special edition of the game Tuesday night. His foundation is helping a bunch of people in Akron, Ohio, and their families get education, get vocational training, get jobs, and I think it's an amazing thing that he's doing. Say what you will about LeBron James. There's a lot you can say. You cannot question his character. You cannot question what he does for his community, and you cannot question what he is doing in this foundation. And for President Trump to go on Twitter on the same week that he does this and just say something ridiculous, thumbs down, President Trump. What in the world are you doing? I just don't get it.
Great president.
Well, we're not going to get into that, but I just thought that was ridiculous. Your timing is impeccable, sir. And all due respect, you were totally wrong in this case. And thumbs up, I am going to break some news tonight that only I and a very few people know. Now, Butch, you've had a chance to meet my girlfriend Becky. Dave, you know Becky quite well. Hopefully she's going to be joining us here after she gets off of work. She signed the paperwork today at Lake Superior State University. It will be announced probably later on this week. She is the new head athletic trainer for their men's and women's basketball team this season. So very proud of her. What an accomplishment at a very, just getting out of college. So congratulations to my girlfriend, Becky. She's going to be the head athletic trainer for men's and women's basketball at Lake Superior State University. I hope I get to interview her as
I think that's a conflict of interest. I might have to do the interview.
You might have to do the interview, Dave, but I couldn't be prouder. She's a very talented individual, and they couldn't have picked a better person as far as I'm concerned. Yes, I am very biased. Dave, let's go around the table as far as what's coming up this week. You had your brand new show, first edition from Northern Superior Brewery Company yesterday, talking Sioux Thunderbirds hockey as well as other things. What's on tap this week, sir?
Definitely an amazing show yesterday. I'm looking forward to that. Trevor's amazing, and the brewing company, as I stated, my thumbs up. But as I stated in the show yesterday as well, this is going to be a very schedule alterations month due to
summer.
Yours truly having a wedding this weekend.
You're getting married?
Yeah, me and you, remember?
No.
Just kidding. No.
No,
Just kidding.
we're not.
I'm sure Butch is
it legal in your country now?
It is, absolutely.
Wow.
Something else is going to be legal on the 14th of October, too.
We'll be going over there for
that. But no, one of my good friends up St. Upton's getting married. I actually got a funny story for that. But long story short, I didn't pay for the suit to get customized. I thought it comes in. I thought you'd be able to pay for it before. You have to pay for it to get customized. So I'm late getting my suit. The wedding's this weekend. apparently it's going to be in. But anyways, there's going to be a lot of alterations this month because of that. And I got my best friend's bachelor party next weekend in Toronto. So I'll state week by week what the schedule is going to be. It's easier for listeners to follow. We will be at Silver Creek tomorrow. A very rare Tuesday edition of the Game Sports Show in Soo, Ontario. 6 p.m. Myself, Justin, and Brad will be on location. We had to change the schedule, obviously, so the guest might not be there. We're hoping to have Blake Spears and Michael Amadio on the phone. I'm trying to work on that right now as we speak. So that's going to be tomorrow. We will have a Sports Center show on Wednesday as well this week. It'll be at 9. Myself, Jamie, and Matt will be there. And then yours truly goes out of town Thursday till Sunday morning. And then Sunday night, or Sunday around noon, I will be at the brewery basically right from getting home from the wedding. Myself, Brad, and Justin will be at the brewery at noon until 1. And we'll state what the agenda is going forward on Sunday from the brewery.
You're a busy man, sir, and hopefully you can make it here next Monday night for the game.
No, I'll be here. 100%.
We have our fantasy football segment next week. I'm in 4 leagues this year.
Are you? I'm just going to stick to 2. I had a good year last year. I don't know if I can top it. Fournette, baby.
That's right.
Leonard Fournette.
And Butch, we know you're going to be busy with your shows, Butch on Sports, which you can find on the podcast page, thegamesportshow.podbean.com. What is in store for you this week, sir?
Well, on Sunday we'll be at Comerica Park, hosted in, I think, Jack Morris here, getting his name on the board out there at Tiger Stadium. Oh, I'm losing it here. Comerica Park. So we'll deal with that there, particularly there. We'll kind of watch the Lions, if I can stand it, on, I guess, Friday night or whenever they play, along with getting around some high schools there and find out what certain football and soccer teams and also some volleyball getting into practice there and doing their thing there. So a kind of a short week there. Kind of remind people, Butch on Sports, we haven't been doing at least 3 to 4 week shows there. We kind of cut it down to 2 being the summer and all there. We'll have a special edition on next Sunday after the Jack Morris days, where I can run some highlights and some live feeds from that particular there, because I'll have one-on-one interview with Morris, along with we'll be on the air on Wednesday here doing a Butch on Sports there. So we ain't gonna kind of sugarcoat it there, but again we'll give you some until September. We'll be back with our 3 to 4 week schedule there for Butch on Sports. There, just wanted you to know.
Butch, want to thank you for joining us as always, and we'll talk to you next Monday night here at the Wicked Sister for another edition of the game, sir.
All righty.
And Dave, want to thank you for coming over, as we still have some little business to attend to. We'll be looking forward to your shows this week, and we'll talk to you next Monday night here on the game.
Absolutely, Scott, and keep an eye out for something tasty coming out on behalf of the radio show very soon. I got the verification text just now.
Oh, fantastic. We are looking forward to that. Want to thank Dave and Butch and our guests, Bruno Bragagnolo and Doug Laprade from the Soo Eagles. I want to thank Scott, Kathy, and the entire staff here at the Wicked Sister for being a great host, as always. That's going to do it for this week's edition of the game from the Wicked Sister on Atchman Street. We will talk to you next Monday night here on Eagle 95.1.